tarde. Here we are, the Fresh Air crew with head gardener Lee McGrady for Get Out and Grow, the Happy Homesteaders on a Monday evening. And our special guest waiting in the wings. We'll bring Cindy B on in just a moment with her introduction to permaculture, with the forthcoming online course that Cindy B is heading and sharing it now that she is a resident here in Portugal. So that's exciting news. And we'll talk to Cindy. Oh, and her lovely little dog is here as well. Her sidekick and assistant, JC, if I remember correctly. Yes, JC's here as well with Cindy B. So how are you doing, Fresh Air crew? What's it like in Devon tonight? It's a miserable old day here in Portugal on the Silver Coast.
I don't know what the weather's been like today. Actually, it's about 10 degrees, but I was out a little bit earlier, so it wasn't too cold when I headed out. But yeah, it has been a little bit grey and dull and cloudy a bit recently.
Yeah, right. That's about right. I think it was absolutely pouring down on Saturday, and it's been quite cold for the last couple of days. This is a warmer day that it's been for a few days, but yeah, it has been quite cold. Well, certainly last week was cold. But yeah, and then the weekend was heavy rain, and then meh, and it's meh today as well.
Yeah, one of those meh days, yes.
But then it's January, so I don't really know what else one should expect, really.
We shouldn't be too surprised, really. Not fantastic for being out in the garden, but the garden needs the rain for sure. Let's go to head gardener McGrady to see if he's been outside today.
Well, I'm not going to complain about the weather. Today was gorgeous. I was down in a t-shirt. Yeah, lovely day today.
Unbelievable. Some of that African warm wind.
Saturday was nice, but I was drinking in the city, so that was always going to be good.
Yes. Okay.
Sunday, hangover day, didn't leave the apartment.
Perfect weather for a hangover.
Last week was really good weather, and it's forecast good for this week.
Yeah.
I know a few people up north are getting decent frost at the moment.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's something to be looking out for.
All right, and on this subject of boozing...
I've got reminded of, on my Facebook, last year, on Thursday last week, a year ago, we had the -1 day when it was really cold here in Lisbon.
Yes.
That was the coldest I've had it while I've been here in the 7-8 years I've been visiting.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So glad it's stunning. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm so glad to hear that. And on the boozing front there, is that a professional gardener kind of trait, would you say? A hard-working, heavy drinking kind of stereotype?
Everyone I know likes a booze. And the lad I was out, well, one of the lads I was out with is a tree surgeon from Scotland.
Oh, right. Okay.
He definitely likes to drink. So, yeah, it turned into a good day. Yeah.
I imagine, the adrenaline-loving tree surgery types might like a pint after a tough day. Okay, well, Pete's here as well this evening. Evening, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Pretty good. Thank you very much, Pete. And a good evening, everybody, from Joao F as well. And Joao wondering, what has Cindy B prepared for us today? We'll find out in just a moment. Gemini Bradshaw also here, as is Abu. Abu, good evening to you. I answered your question on YouTube a little earlier on, my friend. And Mark is here too. Good evening, all. I think Mark likes a bit of the old homesteading. And Lochi J, a new name. Someone looks like they want to laugh. That could be any one of us here on the Get Out and Grow. We do like a gardening pun from time to time. And we have a root vegetable to identify. So that's further laughs to follow. One that the district nurse should cast our eye over, I think. Victoria's here as well. One should expect blazing sunshine in the Algarve. She speaks like the Queen now. She lives in the Algarve. One should expect blazing sunshine in the Algarve. And somehow the image of 2 of the 4 of you is cut in half. Well, I think it's working okay at our end, Joao F. But let us know. Yeah, it looks okay to me. But we're going to see what happens now. And when we bring Cindy B onto the screen. Oh, yeah, before we do that, it is Q&A as well. So what I'm going to do is show this vegetable that just came in. Well, I've got 2 pictures to share with you just now. And I know Anna's got a few questions. But this one came in from the great Garvo, who did our opening sequence. Size of that! And we're not sure if it's a turnip or a watermelon radish or something else. Your guesses, please. We'll come back to that later on. And look at this. This is one of those wonders of nature. This is a kind of scum that formed on one of my compost bins. You must come across things like this, Lee, when you're rooting around.
That's a really good photograph, though.
Isn't that fantastic?
Lovely.
I mean, it's slightly sort of enhanced by the highlight filter, but nothing else. I mean, nothing's been done to the shapes and textures there, and they are otherworldly, aren't they?
That's a really nice print.
Yeah, well, I'll send it to you. You're very welcome to it. Let's bring on the star of the show this evening, our very special guest, just down the road from me on the Silver Coast. Cindy B is here, everybody. Cindy B, how are you?
Good evening.
Oh, sorry, you were miming there. I thought we hadn't got your microphone connected. How are you? And how's little JC there?
Oh, she has to be in the middle of everything, so she wanted to crawl up in my lap. So she may be here for a while, she may not. So.
Okay, we are going to put you right in the middle of things, as you said there. So permaculture, what a gift this is from you to the people, well, all over the world, really. I mean, you're based in Portugal now, of course, and you are a permaculture teacher. And now you're here in Portugal. You've decided to offer an online course, and you're going to tell us all about it tonight.
Indeed, I hope to anyway.
Yeah, we have the Fresh Air crew here, and Lee. We'll go to our head gardener here for a moment. How up to speed are you with permaculture, Lee? What do you make of it?
Without being rude,
He's going to be rude, isn't he? We know he's going to be rude. He's going to be rude.
It's traditional gardening, just with a new name. It's what people in the north have been doing, north of England and Scotland, have been doing for years. It highlights some great aspects of horticulture, bringing veg going into the garden, planting, underplanting, planting with favourable conditions and favourable soils. It's a great word for traditional gardening.
I don't think we're offended by that, are we, Cindy?
No. Anything that gets people out in the garden is a good thing.
Absolutely.
It's a new name for an old trick.
Yeah, I think one of the things.
If you look back at all the old traditional English cottage gardens, it's technically permaculture. It's the same thing. It's just a tradition that's been lost and is being refound again.
Yeah, well, on that reason alone, what a great idea and a great initiative. And in itself, nothing new, right, Cindy? I mean, I was just thinking about when I first heard about permaculture. It was in the 1990s, and I know it had been going for a little while then. So we are talking about something that's 30 or 40 years old, I think.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. I think it was the 70s. They got started in the 70s.
The first great permaculture book that came out in England was the late 70s, 78, 79. I read it in the early 80s. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to find out more about those originators. I think maybe we've got a little bit of a reverb on your laptop there, Cindy. If you could turn us down to the lowest possible comfortable level, and then we won't. I don't know. It could be Lee. It could be me. But it might be you if you turn us down to the lowest listenable level. That's perfect. Much better. Okay. Lots of lovely questions coming in. Peter Bleach has got questions. Michael Heron's here. Heronius Maximus is here. And there'll be a permaculture solution to that. So you might want to take that into what you're going to be saying, Cindy. This is fantastic. Any tips on what vegetables to grow? I have a big concrete patio, but no earth, sadly. Well, there is a solution, I'm sure, permaculturally, right? So, Cindy, please tell us about yourself and I suppose answer that first question. I think John's was a very good basic introductory question. John, if you want to go ahead and ask it.
Yes. So I personally, I haven't really come across the term permaculture before. So I was just going to wonder, well, first of all, how long have you been involved in it and why did you get involved in it? But also, what exactly is it?
What is
Okay.
200 words or
I'm
less.
ignorant here. I'm Mr. Ignorant. Sorry about this, but it's a good to learn.
I could talk the entire show on those questions alone, John. Okay, one at a time. The first question, you've got a concrete patio, no problem. You've got a balcony, no problem. You've got a 4x4 patch of land, no problem. Permaculture is based in horticulture. and agriculture, but it's multidisciplinary. It really touches on all aspects of life. That's one of the things that I teach. What is permaculture? John, I've been practicing permaculture for 16 years now. I really started a deep dive in it in 2006, and I came up with an elevator, the elevator speech just this last year. And I'll share that with you. And I guarantee you, your eyes are still going to glaze over because it's really hard to define permaculture. Okay, but I'm going to take a real attempt at it. And this is, thank you, hon. This is what I've come up with. Permaculture is a lens through which you can observe, design, and live your life more sustainably.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, well, at least I'm getting nods. People are mulling that over, so maybe I'm making progress.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah, I like that.
Oh,
And sorry, was there another one of your questions in there, John? I think there might have been.
How long has she been doing it?
Yeah, no, it's 16 years, wasn't it? 16 years. What is it? We're loving the elevator pitch, but I think there might have been another one. Anna, have you got anything to add at this point?
I think all of them were covered, actually.
Excellent.
I'm just trying to think. I was just going to say, what was it about permaculture that interested you most when you were thinking of starting the course about it?
I think. Well, first of all, let me go back just a little bit. I was one of the hippy dippy back to the landers back in the 70s, and so kind of came out of that, went into corporate America, and then when I retired, I became the hippy dippy back to the lander again, and that's when I discovered permaculture. So that's a roundabout way of saying I was a computer software consultant, and I did implementations and trainings for Fortune 500 companies, which means that I was already looking at companies from an overall standpoint and looking at full systems and working with full systems. So that segue to permaculture was very natural and very organic for me. It made total sense. And so one of the things, and through the years, I've tried different facets of permaculture, but because I was a trainer and I love teaching, that's what I knew I wanted to do. And to be truthful, I do not do consultations with anyone who hasn't been through a permaculture course. And there's a reason for that. You can't maintain your landscape if you don't have the foundation of permaculture. You just can't do it. And so that's a requirement, for me. So anyway, going back to that, one of the things that I love to do is to build a very firm foundation. That's why I teach the introduction to permaculture. We look very closely at the principles and the ethics, and then I start in on the analysis tools and the design methodologies.
Fantastic. Now, as I understand it, it's quite solution focused, okay, and I guess that's what we need right now, isn't it? Because there are one or two challenges in society and around the world, and that's what I think I like about it from the limited knowledge I've got. And I think, to be fair, a lot of people have got a limited knowledge, and there aren't, it's such a vast subject, and there's so many avenues you can go down. It's okay to say you've got a limited knowledge, but let's look at how people may not get access to very nutritious food, for one thing. The disparity between the wealthy and the poor around the world. The quality of food generally seems to be on a downward trend, doesn't it? Not just from access, nutrition. We're talking about food politics, aren't we? And how great food and a natural life, if you like, if we extend that, seems to be moving further and further away from people. And people are moving into sort of urban, globalized situations where they have to buy everything and arguably buy food that's not as good for them as it might have been when they lived closer to the land. Permaculture could be our access, as Lee was saying, back to these sorts of challenges and difficulties that we're facing, right? Because it's practical and you can take baby steps. You don't have to go and suddenly buy a farm, do you, to make this happen?
Absolutely, you do not. No. And I think a lot of people have that concept that, I need 20 acres to practice permaculture. No, you practice permaculture is a lifestyle. The name of the course is Introduction to Permaculture, Design for Life, with design being both a noun and a verb.
Yes, indeed. Excellent. So we can take in this example, can't we? In fact, we can probably give all of our questions and comments that have been made tonight, or we can look at them through the lens you talked about. So using the permaculture lens this evening, Cindy, given that you mentioned it, and I think it's a great start, a great kickoff to the conversation tonight. Big concrete patio, outdoor space, but no earth, sadly. Looking through the permaculture lens, what would you say to Michael?
Well, the first question, any tips on what vegetables to grow?
Yeah.
What do you like to eat? That's the first question that you ask. What is it that you enjoy most? And the second, I have a big concrete patio outdoor space. Well, I look at that and go, wow, that sucker's going to heat up, and you've got a heat trap there. So you can probably grow some real warm weather vegetables there, especially if if you've got some protection from the wind. So that's just one of the things that would pop into my mind. Growing in pots is a very good and very logical thing to do if you don't have soil. And oh my gosh, you cannot fathom what you can grow in pots, and lots of perennials as well.
Superb. That's what Mrs. M's doing. We made a load more pots yesterday here on our patio, so we can compare notes on that, Michael. And that's very familiar, isn't it? That the answer to that question, Lee. Grow what you like to eat. I think I've heard you say that.
It's like I said before. Look at your shopping list. The first 4 vegetables at the top of your shopping list. That's what you should be growing.
Yeah, perfect.
The stuff you eat the most of, the stuff you enjoy the most.
Yeah.
We've talked about growing on balconies before and in pots and using trellises. And at the moment, there's some great ones available. Some new ones are coming to Leroy Merlin. I know B&Q are doing their own back in the UK, and it's like a little trough on legs. I think about €40 for a decent sized one. Yeah.
Yes.
There's no barrier to growing on a balcony or on a patio.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
if anything, for the older person or for the new gardener, it's actually easier.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Lee.
Massive expanse of land that's going to shock you and terrify you. You've got these little pots that you can hand weed every day. You can water every day. You can even set up a small watering system so you don't even have to water every day. You can automatically do it.
Yeah.
So probably starting off with pots and trays on a patio is probably the easiest way to get into growing your own food.
Fantastic. And from the accessibility point of view, which we're all about here as well, those waist-high troughs are excellent, aren't they?
Perfect.
And I know the things you're talking about, Lee. I was quite taken by that system. There's this new kind of, I think it's made of recycled plastic, and it's got drainage in it, and it's modular, and it's got also, and it looks kind of sexy in the garden there. And you both make a great point about don't get overwhelmed, because a lot of people do get put off gardening, don't they, when it gets out of hand and uncontrollable. So it's good to start small, I think.
Yeah, I think the only warning I would give with the plastic containers on legs is at the end of your growing cycle to empty everything out and to wash them properly with hot soapy water, and then restart again with fresh composting, because the compost isn't going to last a long time in those. With the heat, especially in Portugal, it's going to burn terribly. So,
okay, so you need to rejuvenate your soil and kill off anything unhelpful in there.
If you're not going to use chemicals, I personally would just use a chemical and just clean it through with that. But a lot of people won't want to do that, so just removing the compost and then adding another 50 or 100 litres will be absolutely fine.
Perfect, excellent. Anything to add to that, Cindy, on the modular and this particular approach to the patio?
No, Lee's spot on, and I agree 100%. I pull everything out of my pots. It actually goes into a trash can or a wheelbarrow or anything, depending upon where I'm living, and then it gets remixed with fresh compost. Especially mushroom compost is just awesome, as an additive for that next year. You bet. You don't throw soil away, but it needs to be rejuvenated.
You can go back in the compost heap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gardeners are like DJs, aren't they? They're remixing the old hits in the garden. Fantastic. Okay, Carpe Diem saying, first job I had leaving school was working for a tree surgeon. That was 1976. What a summer to be out. And if that was in the UK, I don't know if Carpe Diem is from the UK. I can't remember. But that was a hot summer.
I was 2.
Well, you probably won't remember that hot summer.
I was eating worms in the garden.
Very good. Your introduction to gardening. Good evening from Botswana tonight. Look at this. We had lots of rain at the weekend and we need it. So lots of dancing was had at a good braai. That's the old barbecue over there, isn't it, in Botswana? The braai is dropped from 40 to 22. And I'm sitting in a cardigan. Yes, the cool night possibly there. Sounds lovely though, doesn't it? Pete's saying, muito obrigado. Shortening there. Very colloquial from Pete to Joao there. Hello, gardeners, from Suzanne. Great attendance record just recently, Suzanne. Hello, gardeners. Learning from you what's good practice in Portugal. Yeah, and we'll come back to that sort of Portugal specifics. That's great. But here's a Portugal specific for sure. And again, through the lens of permaculture, what do we do with this? Let's go to you first, Lee, because the question is aimed at you. How to keep boar off your veg patch?
Get a shotgun.
Shotgun from the traditional gardener and from the permaculturist.
I think the only you jumped in there. You know, it's a joke. The only real way you're going to keep the boar off the garden is a solid fence, because they are shocking.
Yeah,
there's nothing. There's no unless you can get access to lion manure from the zoo. No, that actually works. It works. Okay. Big cat manure from the zoo keeps everything off.
Okay. Well, Pete Bleach is a bit of a big cat. Should he use his own manure to scare the boar?
No, there was a time when Chester Zoo, back in the UK, was selling big cat manure to keep wild animals off your veg patch. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Paynton Zoo, did the same.
Sorry, say that again, John.
Paynton Zoo in Devon did the same.
There you go.
Wow. Whose job was it, though, to clean out the lion litter tray? That's a horrible.
I imagine you do it very carefully.
Yes, of course. Behind you. Right. So through the permaculture lens, Cindy, keeping the boar and other pests out of your homestead.
Well, in permaculture, we say that the problem is the solution. In this case, there are no natural predators for the boar except for big cats. I mean, that's absolutely it. I'm with Lee. Get the shotgun out. I mean,
I like her. I like her already.
Yeah, we're thinking, aren't we? Like Cindy's giving her introduction. Yeah, I'm the hippy dippy back to the land person. Get the shotgun out. What? Okay.
Until it comes to boars. Yeah.
It tastes so nice.
It tastes so nice as well. That's your javelin.
Another solution would be to put a fence line up, plant a hedge along the fence line and give it time to develop, and then you can lay the hedge as a crop growing hedge, and then at later times you can remove the fence line and keep the hedge.
Then you have the hedge.
It has to be a very good hedge to keep the pigs out, because they will push through bramble and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
So unfortunately, the only real way to do it is fencing off. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they are fearsome beasts. As you know, I know, having been chased through the Portuguese countryside.
You bumped into one day. That was
all right. Okay, let's move on. It's getting so green here in Alcaria. Lots of mosses down in the valley. Oh, now I'm thinking moss. Very beautiful, very interesting. But that's probably a repurposing possibility, isn't it? Elsewhere in the garden. What do we need? What can we get from moss, or how can we work in tune with moss, if I can put it in a different way?
I raked some out of a lawn last week. The lawn is under the shelter of a large tree. It's becoming a bit of an issue. I've raked it all out and I'm saving it. One for hanging baskets because it retains water fantastically. And I intend to do some cuttings in the next few weeks. So putting a layer of moss underneath my fresh cuttings is another great way to save water and create humidity.
Okay.
So, yeah. And the birds.
I absolutely agree with that.
Plant it together, throw it in the corner, let the birds help themselves as well.
Yeah.
Cindy, do we think that Lee is actually a permaculturist, but just won't?
Yes, he is. He's a closet. He's a closet.
No, not a closet. I'm not a closet permaculture. Permaculture is technically just traditional gardening practices.
Okay.
Dippy name to it.
Had a shotgun. DJ, bon dia todos. Is it too late to say that? We'll forgive you, DJ. It's a different time zone for you, I suspect, so you're completely forgiven. Paul and Lottie and Louise, bon dia todos. I think you've probably got a permacultural leaning, Louise. Got to dash. Be careful. If you're a tree surgeon in 1976, you've got to be careful dashing about, I think. But was going to ask Lee about best place to get some good walling tools, and he's gone. I don't think it was anything personal, Copper Dear. My maul and chisel just won't do the shaping I need to. I will tune in after my tea. I'll ask him again when he comes back. We've called him a closet permaculturist, and he's got the hump and gone, I think. Abu, I love Cindy B's laugh. We all do. It's just so adorable. That's Abu listening in tonight. And thank you. This is this you, John? Do you want to voice that?
That is in.
I think you've remuted yourself there, buddy.
Yes, I've remuted myself, so I'll put the cursor over here. But yes, obviously, as regular listeners and viewers will know, I normally ask for extra questions in case you've forgotten them or can't think of them when Anna posts about them. Yeah, right. So, but what I thought I'd do this evening, as we're doing a special, is ask, what are your experiences with permaculture? Let us know here. But I don't think I've had any answers on Facebook yet. So, but
this might be it. This could be it. This is Pete's view. Permaculture in central Portugal, Castelo Branco district. Bit of a bad rap around here, as people tend to use it as an excuse to ignore local farming methods and fail to learn from them, especially people using raised beds that just dry to dust, or cardboard and cardboard stacks that dry out again, sunken beds. So that's a really good point, and I'm sure you want to respond to that, Cindy.
Absolutely. Permaculture is not a set of fixed rules or methodologies. It's really important to know where you are. It's really important to tap into the wisdom of the area, especially if you're new, to an area. What are people doing? What has worked for them? This is a very old culture here. People have been gardening for centuries. Oh my God, thousands of years. What's working? Can we improve on that? Maybe yes, maybe no. But the last thing in the world that I would want to do is come in and go, oh, I'm a permaculture. I know it all. And this is the way we're going to do it. That's not it. That's not it. Yeah.
And that's a kind of evangelical thing, isn't it? That never goes down well in any area of life. I can understand why people get excited about it, but that's such a great point, Cindy. Look at what's going on. And again, Lee, because we know he is at heart a permaculturist, says exactly the same thing. Look at what your neighbours are doing. That's one of your great and oft-heard comments, isn't it, Lee? Look at what's going on. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
No, yeah, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. 76, very hot summer. Water was cut off. Look at this. Jumpers for goalposts. Green goddesses would deliver water street by street. Also standpipes. I remember it well. They rip up concrete posts and have. Oh, this is Boar, or is this the permaculture people in your area, or the Boar? They rip up concrete posts and have flattened our rebar, which is solid steel. It is legal to shoot boar, but crossbows are silent, as we know from feature films, don't we? That comes from those lethal silent weapons. So Pete, not at all happy. Yep. So where's the nearest zoo in central Portugal? Well, that'll be Lisbon, won't it? Lisbon may well. Yep. They might do some of the old.
But
lion.
There's also a wolf. There's a wolf sanctuary in just outside of Sintra for me, isn't there?
Okay, so big dogs as well as big cats.
I imagine that'd do the same job using their bedding.
All right.
There's a market there, isn't there? It should be.
There is a market. There is a market. There is a market. Big dog, big cat poo market. What do you do for a living? Well, I repurpose big cat and big dog poo among people in Portugal. DJ, I've been growing 30 spring onion plants in a large pot on my patio for 7 years now. I bought them from the supermarket. Instead of chopping them up and eating them, I planted them. So there you go. There's a great thing that Michael could do, right? Perennial spring onions. And Pete liking the hedge idea. But you want to have a nice compact bush, Pete Bleach. I'll leave that to your imagination. Javali, not the same hunting here than in UK. So yeah, Javali is indeed a delicacy among the Portuguese people.
It's becoming a bigger problem in the UK now.
Yeah,
the wild boar over there are becoming a real nuisance.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Causing massive insurance damage with cars, causing a couple of deaths every year, and really damaging crops and land. It's terrible.
Did you point the finger at His Royal Highness about that? He thought it was going to be a great thing to do.
It was Paul McCartney.
A different highness.
Yeah,
okay.
Paul McCartney and his first wife. Yeah.
Hopefully Garvo is not watching to hear that. Agree that a lot of expats ignore the local growing techniques, says Louise, and rhythms. We can all learn new ways to live healthier and grow food better. So yeah, great sentiment re-echoed there. Pretty much with every meal I have fresh spring onions throughout the year. If you cut one or two of the leaf spikes off at 2 centimeters per plant and leave at least one growing full height. There you go. That's a bit of spring onion husbandry right there for you. Boars will snout under fencing if they really need the food. We use noise, beer bottles hanging from a tree with a nail that bangs against it, and motion-triggered solar lights as boar deterrents. So they are a bit skittish and easily deterred in some ways there if you've got the patience to keep testing their systems.
The problem is they soon get used to it. I know a lot of people that PDs and hang bottles up and put electric fencing up. The pigs soon get used to it. And I've seen them in the UK pushing on under electric fencing, so taking the shock for the food.
Texas the same way. Yeah.
They're really hardcore. Yeah.
Can you smell barbecue in the air as they get a little singe off the thing as they go under the fence? Or they get a little bit, if they get the hair on their back taken off, they might like it as a beauty treatment. Thank you, Louise, for that. I will share that. We've got only 10 minutes to go on the show. This is outrageous. So maybe we have some questions. No, before we go to the questions, we need to find out when the course starts and how people can get on it, Cindy.
Oh, yes, please. The course, let me look at the dates real quick because I finally finalized them today. 2 courses. I'm going to run 2 courses this year. The first one is going to start on Wednesday, January the 26th, and it's going to run from 5 to 6:30 Portugal time. So if you're in the U.S. and you're interested, that could work for you. The second one is going to run on Thursdays, and that's going to start January the 27th, and that starts at 10:30 in the morning and runs until noon Portugal time. And that's especially for the people in Europe. If you're interested in that, 6 weeks, hour and a half each session. We do a lecture and a discussion. After the first class, it's discussion, lecture, discussion, because who wants to sit on Zoom for a long time? So that's pretty much how I run it. And this course was really received very well last winter in Maine. And I was thrilled because what does a permaculture teacher do during COVID, but go online. So, anyway, that's pretty much it. I'm not supporting a big website or anything, just my email address. You can get in touch with me. I'm practicing the gift economy with this. And my goal is to make it accessible and affordable. So anytime during the course, at the end of the course, at the beginning of the course, whatever you can do, you'll have my PayPal information, and whatever the course is worth to you, that's, whatever, and whatever you can afford. So.
God bless you. Because I think some people will think, I can't afford this. That's no longer an excuse, is it? To get out there and grow and to learn a bit about permaculture. Lee, did you want to ask something?
That's just a nice way to do it. I like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so here's the wild boar deterrent, and you've got to mix it up a bit before they get used to it. But that's quite an elaborate setup there in it. Beer bottles. I mean, what I like about this particular solution is that you've got to drink beer and eat ice cream in order to get into that position.
Perfect, doesn't it?
That can't be bad, can it? That's pretty good. And Deagle's here. Deagle will watch later. Likes to do a bit of gardening. When did you last see one of these, Lee? Look at that, Gardener's World from the UK.
Gardener's
BBC.
World. God, used to get that
lovely.
Every
Takes you back. You don't get it sent over then anymore.
Was it fortnightly? Or was it monthly? Was it
Times.
fortnightly? No, we used to get it through work. We used to get the work account.
Of course you did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we had several magazines throughout the year that came through.
Yeah. Did you do one? Did your department have an annual calendar in a alluring semi-naked style with the gardeners of Lancashire?
I think they stopped around 92 when we had to take anything like that down.
Disgusting.
Yeah. I remember when I first started, there was one in the tool shed.
Right. No, I don't mean those sorts of calendars. I mean you lot getting your kit off and with a jauntily placed spade to cover your modesty and privacy as a fundraiser.
No, we don't like that. One of the friends of groups, one of my friends of a local nature reserve, who will remain anonymous, they did one that raised a few £1,000 for the woodland. So yeah, but I never got involved with it. No, not my thing.
I'm surprised. I think that would have given him a few extra bob if you've been involved in that, Lee. Can you give us Cindy's email, please? So let's pop that in the comments. What's the best one for you, Cindy? Can you repeat that?
Cindy Blackshear at hotmail.com.
Okay, I'm just doing that now, and we'll make sure it is absolutely right on the screen so that other Cindy Blackshears are not being asked to teach permaculture around the world. Although that could be fun, couldn't it?
Are you starting a Facebook page or an Instagram page?
Yes, I'm Cindy Blackshear on Facebook.
Well, so
you can get me here, and of course, I'm Cindy B on Expats Portugal.
On the Expats Portugal forum, of course. And have I done that right there, Cindy?
Indeed, you have. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So get in touch that way. Pete Bleach loves the way you're doing it with the Eisenstein gift economy idea there. Quick one for Lee. How long have you been in Portugal now, Lee?
Officially 400 years. Unofficially 7.
Okay. Sorry, I was laughing over that first answer. What was the official answer?
4 and a bit.
4 and a bit. Excellent. And Facebook user here. We don't know who that is. Is that possibly Fiona? Been planting fruit trees. 20 new vines today. Oh, I've got a question for you, Lee. And Cindy, you probably know the answer to this as well. Look, we were at the garden centre over the weekend. The grapevines are in, aren't they? And they seem to be dipped in like a red wax. What is that?
Red wax. Yeah.
Oh, the red wax is a red wax.
It's a red wax.
And what does that do? Why? What's that about?
It first of all, it protects them in transport. So when they're being transported, they're not getting cracked and chipped. And then you'll put them in with the red wax on, and that'll protect it from the frost for the first season. Then it'll just shoot on from there.
Fantastic. And that's going to be great, isn't it, to be growing something traditionally Portuguese like a grapevine. They are in the gardening shops now, everybody. It's a good time to be going to the gardening shops, your Agrilogias, isn't it? And your Leroy's at the moment. Very exciting time of the year.
Everything's coming in. And everything's looking good at the moment.
Yes.
Be a bit wary that a lot of places don't get a frost or someone gets that cold weather, and the shops like to sell things early. Yeah. So when you buy it, it'll die. You go back and replace it.
What cynical marketing!
So just if you can, hold your horses a few more weeks and let this frost pass over us, and then go out and buy something.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Cindy, were you going to add something to that, or was it at that point?
Yeah, if you're patient and you know someone with grapevines who are doing pruning now, take those cuttings. You can root those and grow your own.
Recycling, repurposing again there. So yes, Cindy,
it is quite easy to do grapevine cutting. So there's loads of YouTube videos on it. We're not going to go into it, but they're not difficult at all. They shoot really well.
Just stick them in the soil.
Expect an email from Heronius Maximus there. And how does boar go with applesauce? Pretty well, I would think. It's not a traditional Portuguese combo, that, but I think it would go pretty well. And that's Jazz, Facebook user there. Happy belated birthday greetings to you, and remarkable the work you're doing. We must get you back on as well, Jazz, because we really enjoyed having a look around your plot before. Lee, should we wait to plant trees until the last frost or wrap it with cloth? Asking Peter back on that same point there.
Actually, trees are fine now.
Okay, trees.
You want the trees when they're at the most dormant. You want the ground when it's at its most dormant. So trees are fine now. Yeah.
Very
I'm
good.
actually moving one tomorrow. I'm moving a tree for a customer, and I've been waiting for weeks and weeks for the right weather. And so tomorrow is the day.
Right. And in the wintertime, would you say that everyone has a chili bush? Oh, that's not what she means. Chili bushes help deter elephants. It might work for boar as well. So
I imagine the boars love them. Just delete anything. Nothing puts them off.
Okay.
Nothing
But
puts them off.
when you finally eat them, they might have a nice little piquant flavour to them if they've eaten all your chilies. Okay.
Well,
and Jazz,
those crazy Americans that eat the black bear, they say the black bear that graze on the blueberries are the best because it takes the meat, and you can taste the blueberry in the bear meat.
What's crazy about that?
You've got to go and get them. That's what's crazy about it.
That's the crazy bit. Yes, potted my new trees on and in the polytunnel until the frosts are done. Nice one, Jazz. Yeah, good tip there. I keep them in the polytunnel for the time being. Javeli cooked in white wine with bay leaf, boiled potatoes, and a tomato and onion salad. Stop it! That's great. It's not a cooking show; it's a gardening show. Just time for this. Anna, have you anything to add about this remarkable specimen here?
This one was from Gary, I believe. I think it was the only photo question. I might have to send the all the other ones. I've literally got about 2 pages of questions here, but this one was from Gary Austin, and he uncovered this in my new plot of land while strimming. I presume it's a turnip, but do you think it's edible?
Let's go to the experts. What do you think, folks?
Now,
Cindy
I did say turnip when you first mentioned it, when you first showed me the picture, didn't I?
You did?
I'm really not sure what that is. It's a thing.
Okay. It's definitely something, I think you said earlier on.
Cook it and let us know what it tastes like.
All right. That's a high-risk strategy. Go on, Cindy. What do you reckon?
I thought parsnip in the beginning, and then I decided it wasn't. It looks like a humongous radish to me, but it could be a bulb of a flower for all we know. I would say slice the sucker open and see what it looks like.
Yeah, and if it looks like beautiful like that on the inside, it is a watermelon radish.
You know what you got.
If you look at the green leaf at the end of the plant, if you look at the green leaf at the end of it,
yes,
it's really small. What looks like a rough leaf that's been trimmed down on occasion and regrown and regrown and regrown. So
true.
I'm gonna say it's a.
Well, there are some more. There are some turnips for you, and it is looking like it could be either of those. But what we want to know, Gary, is what on earth did you do in your garden to get it to that size? What's your secret?
It's just been left in the ground and grown and grown. So
it's been there for 27 years.
It's been a family.
That's why it's big.
It won't taste good. It won't taste very nice.
There you go. Look, definitely a turnip. Someone else saying a narbo, which is possibly the same thing, isn't it? The narbo, if I remember correctly. On Facebook, there are several Cindy Blackshears. Which is you? The one. What's your lovely picture on there, Cindy?
Right now, it is a woman in a long coat with a woof.
With a woof. What's that?
I believe that's right. I've got like a winter
avatar. Is there a mythical creature on there? Here we go.
There's a mythical there. Thank you, Anna.
There you go. Long coat and a polar bear or similar.
Oh, it's a polar bear, not a wolf, a polar bear.
Looks like a scene from Master of the Thrones or whatever it's called. Great permaculture and hunting session. Trust Gary to come up with an unusual growth. It's an overhead shot of Peter Boyle when filming Young Frankenstein. Says Ubi, and evening everyone from Andy. Just as we're about to go, thank you so much. That's been great fun tonight, Cindy B. I hope you come back.
I would love to. Thank you for the plug for the course.
Not at all. And it's been great to really, be able to, we're identifying plants all the time, but we've identified the head gardener as a closet permaculturalist. Fantastic. tonight. Well,
It's just a fancy name. It's a fancy
it's just a fancy name.
gardens.
Okay, folks, thanks very much. Final word from you, John or Anna?
Goodbye and see you next week. I don't really know. I can't think of anything to say.
Fair enough.
I'm still processing all this.
I think Anna's got 2 pages of questions, so we've got to carry over. I think we'll be forgiven, Anna, for next week.
Loads of questions for next week.
Go on, Anna. Did you want to add anything?
That's right. I was just aware that I had so many questions. So I had a load that I had for Cindy as well, and I think I only covered about 2 of those, and one of the gardening questions. So
okay,
I'll
tune in next week,
maybe,
and we'll go straight to them next week. Sorry if you've asked a question, but the permaculture feature was fantastic this week. A lot of fun. Thank you so much, Cindy B. Good luck with the course, and we'll see you all next week. Ciao, ciao.